Welcome to Let's Talk, where we break silences and build bridges. I'm your host, Vaishali Patil. Motherhood is a longing that lives in a woman's heart. Their dreams of tiny fingers, first smiles, and endless love reside. Every mother's journey is a love story, whether it comes through natural conception, IVF, or adoption. But for many women, this path isn't always straightforward. Today, we are diving into an IVF journey that takes us from heartbreak to hope, from failed cycles to the miracle of motherhood. Welcome to Let's Talk, Kushali.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Firstly, I would like to congratulate you on your success of being a certified parent coach. How do you feel about it?
Thank you so much. I feel amazing. For me, parenting has been a dream. And now that I have achieved that dream, I'm feeling on top of the world. Now, I did my studies in human development and family studies. So, I was always looking forward to apply all those what I've learned for my child. But conceiving was an issue. Now that I conceived and then I have a beautiful daughter, and then my postpartum was difficult. But when I am now in the right frame, I wanted to do something and help people. And for that, it was very important for me to grow. I did my certified course and I'm so happy. And the course itself was so enlightening that I felt amazing. Now I would wish to help people, help parents, help moms to navigate the journey in a better way.
Your story was really touching. I think like every woman or most of the women at some point in their life, they do want to become a mother. And not every woman, I think it's possible to conceive naturally. So when you learned that for you it's going to be difficult to conceive naturally, what was your first reaction emotionally? If you can walk us through your journey of the initial phase.
Of course. We got married very early. So I was around 22. We as a couple were in no hurry to plan the child. And one fine day we decided. And me being a little more aware of everything, we were like, let's go and meet the doctor. Let's start, medication. Start your eye on medications and this and that. So we went and the doctor said, start trying. And then it took us a lot of time. I mean, it was 3-4 months later on and we did not conceive. So doctor was like, why in a hurry? Wo to eventually it will happen. But then we both decided that let's go for medical testing and all. So when we underwent all the medical tests, we could come to know that, we would never be able to conceive naturally. So it was a shock, of course. I mean, emotionally, you cannot accept that this won't be possible. We were in a bad state of mind. We couldn't accept it. But then, of course, that was the reality and we had to accept it. And the most difficult thing was telling your families that we won't be able to conceive naturally. In Indian societies, we have a lot of pressure that, 3-4 years later on, kab good news de rahe ho? When are you, giving us the good news that... So we couldn't accept it, of course, but eventually we both as a couple are very strong. So we thought that we'll inform the families. Future, we don't know what, how, when, we don't know. And yes, one thing we were sure that we wanted to become parents, but at that moment, we were in utter shock that no idea what to do now. So yeah, it was very difficult.
During this phase, as a couple, how did you both deal? What was the support that you got from your husband? How did you both manage that emotional turmoil at the initial phase?
Whatever I am is because of him. He has been my constant support, and it was never about him or me. For us, it has always been us. So be it any situation, any little thing or big thing, we have stood by each other. And so we decided that at the moment we just want to just come out of it and we'll think about becoming parents. This is not the end. It's not a full stop. It's just a comma. We need to think how, what, when. But at that point of time, we were not in that stage to accept. So we were just handling each other, giving each other emotional comfort that we'll come out of it. And that's how it is. It's us. This journey is not about a single parent. It's about as a couple how you deal with it. And yeah, so I mean, I'm sorry, I'm short of words, but yeah, this is something which, as a couple, you need to come together, help each other, deal with it, and come out of it. And of course, it is not an end, it's just a comma in our journey.
When you are a couple in the journey, you have to support in everything that you do, and you have to be in it together, and that's a great support. That's really good how you both took it forward.
Yeah.
Once you decided that you're not going to conceive naturally, and you decided that you are going to take the IVF route, what were the steps that you took, and how was that journey?
So, very frankly speaking, it was not that easy. Even especially in Indian families, they don't accept this easily. We were in Mumbai at that time, and our hometown is in Vadodara. Then, eventually, at one point of time, we were like, we don't want to think about it. We just left it. Then, one fine day, when we both were ready, we decided to meet doctors in Mumbai. But we both were very, very sure that we don't want to inform our families because we wanted to deal with this journey in our own way. So we started meeting and consulting doctors. We met multiple doctors, and then we decided that, yeah, okay, let's go ahead with the journey. So we inquired, and of course, we met friends, people whom we knew who underwent IVF. So we had a discussion. At first moment, we were not ready, but then we wanted to become parents anyhow. So of course, we wanted to go ahead with it, and we met the doctors, and eventually we decided to go for it. There were a lot of factors, of course, financial and all. But yeah, we finally locked down on one of the doctors, which we found that यहाँ पे success rate ज़्यादा है. So that is how it worked.
In that journey, how was the support from the doctors, and did you get all the information that you needed to start that journey? How was the support from the medical team that was dealing with you?
I would say it wasn't that great. I was disappointed. But when you don't know about it, whatever doctor says is patthar ki lakir, it's final. So we thought, let's move on. And we researched, of course, but not that much. We thought doctors know the best. So we trusted them. Once the treatment started, I was in a horrible state. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, though, of course, it is expensive. So that goes by default. We underwent 4 cycles. Okay, first 4 cycles. And when the 4th cycle ended, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to be a mom anymore. I was in that state of mind, mentally and emotionally. I was so exhausted. I did not have the strength to take it further. That is how it was. I was detected with fibroids, uterine fibroids, when we started the treatment. But doctor said that's okay, we can go ahead with it. So of course we trust the doctors. And we went ahead with it. After 4 cycles, when the things did not turn out to be success, doctor said probably the fibroids might be the reason. So this was very disappointing. Doctor said probably we can, get the fibroids removed and then we can try again. This could have been told to us earlier. Why to undergo the emotional and physical turmoil? So yeah.
So were you not informed initially of the steps or any requirements that are there to undergo the IVF?
Yes, all the tests were done, and even the fibroid thing was known to us. So of course we asked the doctor also, and it is the doctors we met and the hospital which we had taken for our treatment. It is one of the best hospital of Mumbai. This should have been told to us earlier. Doctors said that fibroids, it's okay, we can go ahead with it. We underwent the first IVF in 2016. So then doctor said it shouldn't hamper your treatment. Of course, we'll trust the doctors, and we thought that we are going with the best doctors. So it shouldn't be a problem. Probably it was because of the rush or so many patients. We were treated just as patients, and fertility treatment is something which is very, very emotional for a female, for a couple, of course. So it was difficult. I felt that doctors could have been a little more empathetic. For them, every patient is a patient. But still, this is something which takes a toll on your emotional and mental health. And above all, the societal pressure at that point of time, it was difficult. The reason I was not satisfied, they told me, okay, because probably fibroids are there, that is why we couldn't succeed. That was not the reason which I could accept, but I was like, done. It's done.
You said 4 cycles you had failed, right? So
Yeah.
how were you dealing with your mental health at that time? And as a couple, how were you all managing after, having so many failed cycles? What was your strategy to maintain your mental health or keep yourself strong and going?
So, firstly, I am blessed with the best of friends, which I had that time, who are still with me. So, what we did when we underwent IVF cycles, we did not inform anybody. In fact, both side of families also, just both of our moms knew about it. We don't have our fathers anyway. We lost them quite early. So, but we had strictly told our moms that don't inform the extended families also, not even our brothers, okay? Because so many people, so many suggestions, and everybody has their opinion. We are here to respect everybody, but at that point of time, it was about our journey, nobody else's. We did not, the IVF cycles did not succeed. Fourth cycle, it was like, we'll stop it. What are we going through? I mean, emotionally, and I miss telling you, but yeah, one of the doctor, when he met, he said that it would be good if you shift nearby hospital. I mean, practically, it's not possible, right? I mean, yeah, absolutely. Of course, he told that you'll have to come again and again, and traveling in Mumbai is difficult and not, but still, you cannot shift your home for undergoing a treatment. So when we decided to stop the fourth cycle, it was like I was bloated, I was you know emotionally tired. I don't know. I mean, I don't even have words to express it, because we were like, what are we going through? I mean, my body is taking a toll. I did not have the strength, and I was in a horrible state. We as a couple, of course, because I was undergoing the treatment physically, it was my body. So my husband was supporting me like anything. It's okay, Kushali, we'll deal with it. It's okay. Zindagi nahi ruk jati. Of course, he told that you'll have to come again and again, and traveling in Mumbai is difficult and not. But still, you cannot shift your home for undergoing a treatment. When we decided to stop the fourth cycle, it was like I was bloated, I was you know emotionally tired. I don't even have words to express it, because we were like, what are we going through? I mean, my body is taking a toll. I did not have the strength. I was in a horrible state. We as a couple, of course, because I was undergoing the treatment physically, it was my body. So my husband was supporting me like anything. It's okay, Kushali, we'll deal with it. It's okay. Zindagi nahi ruk jati. This, that, all. But at that point of time, it was not about the success. It was about the emotional and physical turmoil which we were going through. Of course, financial does, but I was, I was literally tired. I was crying. I did not. I was all over the place. I was just into pieces. I didn't know what to do, and by the time it was last cycle, because you have to undergo injections and shots and hormones and so many things in IVF. I was all over the place, and we decided to stop. And when the doctor said that fibroids ki wajah se, that was the reason, we just stopped it. We don't even want to undergo the fibroid treatment at the moment. We just want to leave and be ourselves. Give us time to heal from within, because emotionally we were tired. So yeah, we just were supporting each other, telling each other, okay, let's stop thinking about the baby at the moment. Let's concentrate on ourselves, be together, be as we are. Let's begin this again. Let's be happy first, then we can think further. So we were lost at that time. We were just holding each other and passing each day, one day at a time.
I think both of you being so strong and supporting as a couple,
Absolutely.
being it in together and supporting each other, I think that has helped you a lot, looks like. I think couples should be there for each other in such difficult times. when it comes to financial, I know these treatments are very expensive. So you've been undergoing so many cycles. How did you guys manage the finances, or any tips or anything that you want to tell our listeners, how you guys manage the finance and how difficult or easy it was for you?
IVF is one of the most expensive treatment. At that point of time when we began the treatments, we were just going with the flow. We broke a lot of our savings because at that time we did not have the corpus to manage the treatments. But at that point of time, it was like we want to become parents by hook or by crook. Over a period of time, even insurance companies, they have this all plans for IVF treatment and all, which was not there at that point of time. So probably I feel that I am not saying that anyone should undergo this treatments, but with today's time and with today's lifestyle, IVF is very, very common, which I have observed. So I think the best gift a married couple can give to themselves is a plan for their fertility treatment, because paying the premium is easier than paying for the treatments. And now the IVF treatment people, they have started with loan and all, but if you get insurance, why not? That's the best way you can do it for yourself.
I think it's just about being prepared for the situation. You might not need it, but having that contingency or being ready for it might be helpful, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
And how did it impact your career when you were going through? Were you working, or you had to take a break?
I am a professional voiceover artist. So at that time, I was into voicing and dubbing, and I used to dub for movies and advertisements and all. But I had to stop it at that point of time. And after that, I was in a horrible state of mind. So I was not ready to get into it. I took a lot of time to come out of it, and especially my physical health. I used to get very tired. I don't know, it was just because of IVF and hormones, or mentally I was all over the place. So I feel that, any couple, whoever now in future plans for any treatment, the most important thing is you should be so strong and so positive. After going through this and doing it all over again, I can say that, the first time I was in a bad state, but later on in future, when I again underwent it, I aced it like a queen. I'm not boasting it, but the most important thing is that you should be prepared and positive and well aware. At that time, 13, 14 years back, things were different, but now things are different. Instagram and Facebook and Google and all, everything, ChatGPT, AI, everything is available. So go for it, but be prepared and do the best for yourself. And physically, when you undergo any such treatment, it is important that you are physically ready as a female, because it is the hormones, the shots, and everything is going to go under your body. For that, I feel that physical fitness is very important. That moment also, and then for later on also, because once a baby comes out of you, you need strength to bring up a baby. So from now, you have to be prepared. Suppose if you're planning to go for a treatment 2 months later, prepare yourself from now. Work on your physique, because that will help you be mentally strong as well.
So did you have any routine for yourself, to come out of the physical state that you had been after the 4 failed cycles? Did you have any routine that you followed to keep your mental and physical health?
Yes, especially for physical health, I started working out. I started, working really hard on myself emotionally and physically. So I started journaling. I started talking to people only whom I get positive vibes. I even used to avoid social gatherings, because in Indian families, it is like, if there is anything, any social gathering, I mean, I would like to share an example. I went to an event which was about Mataji, we pray. So one of our relatives said, there was a Pandit ji who came, and she said that, bas inko dua de do ki inki god बढ़ जाए. This all little remarks, they break you. I mean, you also want it, but everywhere, wherever you go, you hear that. It's bad for us. We are okay. We also want to become parents, but we also have our own identity. It is not just about being a mother or being a parent. So I stopped going everywhere. I stopped meeting people who used to talk about such things. And there was a time when I even told our own moms that please don't discuss these things with us. We need our own time and we are also adults. We need our own time and we'll handle it. We are not kids. We came to that point of time that we had to say this to our moms. It was bad for us because we know that they wish good for us, they also have feelings. But we were emotionally that broke that we had to tell them that please stop interfering in our lives. Imagine, that's if I go back and think that I said this to my mom, it still hurts me because she's a mom. She would wish best for her child. But at that point of time, we were not ready for any suggestions, anything regarding a child. Just stop and let us be. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just need to be with yourself and you don't need too much advice. People around you just need to be there with you and, not give unsolicited advices. Sometimes we really don't need that. So how did you deal with those unsolicited advice? So were you direct, like you said, how you said to your mom? So that part, how did you deal with, the society?
Society, it is difficult to deal with it. Sometimes the best way is to ignore, but ignoring takes time. When you are ready, we are mentally strong, you can ignore. But before that, when it came to relatives, me and my husband, both of us, we used to tell our moms, please don't talk to them. Okay. There were some relatives where we had to tell them that let's talk about something else. No, it's not easy. I mean, you cannot stop anybody saying, but you should be that strong to, just ignore. It's not easy. And for us, it was like in the beginning, it did not happen. At that time, we couldn't react. But I used to come home and, cry on my husband's shoulder. And most of them tell the females, not the males, that when are you planning a child or what is happening, what is the issue. My husband, he stood like a pillar. And infertility is not about a female or a male, it is about a couple. So, just pinpointing any female is wrong. And for that, I am grateful to have such a supportive husband because he stood like a rock. He just used to tell me only one thing: I don't care whatever anybody says. We are together. That is important. So, yes, that was the most important thing. But I won't deny. There were days when, I used to feel very sad. Being a female is all about having a child. It's not that I don't want to have a child, but it's my life. It's our life. We'll deal with it.
Woman, she has the choice. If she doesn't want to become a mother, it's her choice, isn't it? Just because a woman is not ready to have a baby, people have no right to say anything about her decision or pointing fingers. It's her personal decision. Yeah.
I hope people understand this, because there should be a border. You cannot cross that line and, because you are just saying it, but you don't know what that person is feeling. So it is so important to be empathetic and just let it be.
Even after you had failed cycles, you still decided to go ahead one last time and give it another try for IVF. So what was it that made you take that decision again of, giving it another try after going through so much of pain emotionally and physically? What gave you the strength, to try again?
Yeah, firstly, I'm glad that I tried it. I have a beautiful 3.5-year-old daughter, and I'm truly blessed. It was 2016 when we tried that. After that, in 2017, I did went uterine fibroid removal surgery. Then we took a break. We both decided that we are not going to talk about it anymore. Eventually, we were in our own things, and of course, we moved to Baroda. It was lockdown, and we were in Baroda at that point of time. Then one of our friend, they underwent an IVF treatment, and they succeeded in one go. So they just told us because they are friends, we share. So they just told us that you can, if you want, you can at least meet the doctors. And there was a point in our life, where we stopped talking about having a child. Before, our friend who talked to us or who shared about their journey, before few days, it was lockdown time. We were at home and a lot of things were going around. And one fine day, we were discussing about, what we want to do. Do we want to adopt, or do we want to, just don't think about it and stop? It's okay. If you're not having a child, that's fine. So we were just discussing these things as a couple, and we both gave each other time that let's think about it. And after a few days, sometimes it's just a sign. When you are thinking about it, something comes to you. So then this friend came and told us that, we conceived and it's been 3.5, 4 months, and we were like, wow, congratulations. Then we both had a talk that night that we should think about it. What do we want to do? So then we were like, let's go and meet the doctor. We don't want to meet any other doctors because they already had this fertility treatment. Then for them, it was hook and crook. They wanted to have a child. So they had met best of the doctors. So we were like, okay, we'll go and meet the doctor, then we'll talk about it. And the way the doctor dealt with us, the way she explained every single thing, every single doubt. And of course, when you go to a doctor, you share the whole history, your medical history. So we went and shared. And the way she, explained every single thing and empathetically, because she knew I underwent failed cycles. She was like, I won't force you, it is all your thing. And we had to do all the tests all over. And yeah, so she did my scan and all. And again, I had uterine fibroids. As soon as she told me that I had uterine fibroids, my husband was sitting there. I had just had a glance in his eyes and he was worried. I could see that in his eyes that I'm going through all over again. But but the way doctor explained, it was all very good. But then doctor said there is no hurry. If you want to undergo all the tests, come tomorrow, we'll do it. And we said, okay, we'll come back to you. And we sat in the car and we both saw each other and we were like, let's do it. We both just said the same thing because, and when we went, we were just not prepared. We were like casually, okay, let's go and meet the doctor. We'll think later on what we'll do. But yeah, there was again, I could see, in Bhavik's eye that the biggest thing was again uterine fibroids. So again, undergoing the surgery. But the way doctor explained, she said that, don't worry about it. And we will not do without removal because in case if you conceive and if you cross certain months and if there is a miscarriage, it's not worth it undergoing the physical and financial pain. Probably it was the universe and our wish which was going to come true. So we decided to go for it. And I'm truly, truly grateful that I got to meet such a wonderful doctor. As a patient, as a female, as a couple, what you want. We were fighting infertility since years. So now when I'm sharing with you, I have a smile on my face because I am proud because I came out of it. We aced it really well because again here the same thing I would like to add. As a couple, you have to be strong. It is not about families, not about extended families. And this time we didn't have our moms. We lost both our moms. So it was like, of course, we had our extended families, but this is not about family. It is about husband and wife, only a couple. So we decided to go for it.
Do you think the way the doctors handled you or the information that you got, how they treated you, did that help you make the decision? The doctors did their part well this time, did you think?
Absolutely. Had it not been the right doctor, I would not have gone for it. I was not ready. If I go back and look at my Mumbai experience, I would call it a nightmare. Seriously. Because I underwent again the treatment and I met other doctors, I could compare. For doctor, everybody is a patient, right? But how you connect with the patient is important because it's not just about fertility treatment. It is about every single thing. Patient looks upon as a doctor as something that I am giving you my everything. You give me the way out, right? In black and white. Don't keep it hazy. Keep it black or white. Don't give wrong hopes. So, yeah, so it is very important, I feel.
Yeah, I think the patient puts so much trust in the doctor to navigate them through a right path and give them the right direction, give all the information that a patient needs. That's very important. So if you compare between the Mumbai and your home city treatment and how things were dealt, what do you think should have been done differently when you were handled in Mumbai? What the doctors would have done differently?
Firstly, the right information, stepwise information, and in depth. Every single question which I had was answered, and scientifically, not just randomly. Because this time when I went, I had all research done with the previous experience. You know, when you have an experience, when you have bad experience, you won't just go for it as it is. You will be prepared. So doctor was like, you know it all. But that was not important for me. You tell me what I know is right or wrong. That is important. So when the first time I went, I felt that I was treated as just a patient, you know, just like everybody. But this time, I was treated as if, you know, you are a patient and you are important. Your thing is important to us. You want to become a mom, and that is our agenda, that we will make sure that you become a mom, you become parents. So when you get that assurity, and the most important thing which doctor told me, you know, she said, be positive. It is what you think is going to happen. If you are negative, this might look a little, you know, theoretical, but no, that's true. And when your doctor tells you this, it means a lot at that point of time, you know. And then every single shot, if I remember, I took it smiling. You know, okay, shot lena, give it to me. I'll take it. Because at that point of time, she just told me, just imagine you are a mom and you will become a mom. Just imagine you both are parents and you're, you know, handling your child. It will happen. So this is psychological also. Because how positively you deal and how mentally you're ready for it. Physically, it's their responsibility. They will make us physically ready by giving all the treatments and all. But I would say that this time, being it lockdown or anything, I was physically ready because, you know, it was like I gave birth in 2021. So 2016 and 2021. So my age, I'm also growing, you know, I'm aging. And after aging, handling pregnancy, handling a child is not easy. And this time, we did not have our moms around. So it was all us. But we dealt with it. Yeah, I would say that if you're in the right hand, you can just go through it very easily.
Do you think it's important even for the couples, you know, when they are planning, they do their own research, so they also have the right questions for the doctors, and the doctors know they are well prepared and they also know their bit what they want? Do you think that will help the couples if they are do their own research?
Yes, I feel, yeah, that's important. I mean, I would not say that it is compulsory, because today's doctors are aware that today's couples are very well researched. So probably the times have changed, because you know, everything is available online. And I would not say that it was not available before, but the awareness, the clarity today's couples have is way better than what we had years back. And I can see that in us also, because eventually you grow as a couple also, and your goals are very clear now, which I feel that we should research and we should have our own homework ready, so that we are not hesitant. You know, when you go and you have questions, you feel that, you know, your every question is answered, and so you're ready for it.
And during this period, when you were thinking of going it for the second time, were you thinking of option for adoption as well? Did you have that option in your mind? What were you
Yes.
thinking? And were you ready emotionally to accept to adopt a child?
Yes, so we wanted to become parents. So we had thought that let's give this a try. If not, we'll think for adoption. Yes, and we were ready. For us, it was not about, you know, being parents biologically. As a couple, when you are aligned, you can be good parents. So we knew that we would make good parents. It is not about a biological child, you know. When me and my husband, we think as a team, we know that, you know, we make a great couple, not just that lovey-dovey ones, because we have seen our lows and, you know, up, and we have, you know, held each other very well. So, today also when it comes to, I am here, we are having our episode, and my husband took my daughter and he is handling her. So that is what parenting is. It is not about me or him, it is about us.
Okay, and then I think you became a mom, and the second phase of your journey started of
Yeah.
motherhood, and you had to deal with postpartum depression, I guess. So, would you take us through that journey?
You're telling it, and I already have goosebumps in my hand. Yeah. Probably everything I aced it, but this was very, very, very difficult for me. If I think back again, I feel that this was the most horrible phase when I gave birth to Shania, and I was all over the place. I don't know what went wrong, but I was aware that there is something called postpartum depression, and I knew. The sixth day we came home because there were a lot of issues. She came a little early. She was hospitalized. She was in ICU. Then she had this physiological jaundice and all. So it took us 6 days for coming back home. And when I came home, I knew something was wrong because I felt everything was hazy. This might look a little, that what am I saying? But I had that dark phase in my head probably. As soon as I entered home, I felt something is not right. It was not about home, it was about my mind, what I was going through in my body. And if I tell you, I couldn't feel connected to my child at that point of time. I couldn't breastfeed because my milk was not coming. I, I was all over the place. My mind, I kept on crying all the time. I didn't know what to do. Probably, I think every mom feels this at some point of time, but mine was bad, and I knew that this was depression. See, there were two things. When you become a mom, there are two things. You are a mom. You want to do everything for your child. Another is your mental state. So as a mom, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed my child, and I was doing everything I could, taking every effort and all. But when my child used to cry, I didn't know what to do. I was all over the place. And um, again, here comes the biggest thing, that we did not have our moms. So both side parents were not there, paternal and maternal. It was me, my husband, and my brother. It was lockdown time, and I was all over the place. And as soon as my child used to cry, I did not know because a child cannot speak, and you are not aware. Uh, I was postpartum, so I had helps who used to come and cook food because it is said that you should eat this, you should eat that, and all. Everybody will come and give you thousand suggestions, but you don't know what is happening, what you want to do. So, for every single thing, even if she will cry for 10 minutes, I'll call my doctor. And my doctor knew that she'll need my support. So that is why she even kept me in hospital for 6 days. And before leaving, my gynac, she's a very senior doctor. I'm truly grateful. So she asked me, "Are you ready to go home? You want to?" And I was like, "Yes, I'll go home now. I need to be home." When you start the massage of the child and all, it is said that mom should get it done, and the child should also get it done. I couldn't close my eyes for 1 minute. I had my thoughts all over the place, and I knew I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sit still. And as soon as the day passed, and around 4 or 5 in the evenings, I used to get chills. I used to shout on top of my voice. I had shivering. If I go back and think, I don't know what it was. So it was very, very bad. And I knew this was depression probably. So my husband and my brother, they, held me like this, Khushali, we are there. But at that point, I wanted to come out of this because I knew I have seen families getting ruined because of depression, and me being aware of every single thing, I knew I wanted to come out of it. So I called one of my friend who is a doctor himself. So even his mom is a doctor. So I told him, he was like, "Wait, Khushali, you speak to my mom," because he knew that I needed someone who is senior, who will deal with me. So, yeah, I spoke to her and she was like, Khushali, it's okay. We'll deal with this. And I only told her one thing: God has blessed me with this after years. I want my family. I don't want to, just, I don't know. I don't want this. I don't want to lose this. And then she was like, Khushali, calm down. We'll deal with this. This is not the end. Just calm down. You know what you are undergoing and you want help. That is the thing. We'll come out of it. And then eventually, she held me. I was so ready that, I'm ready to take therapy also. I can meet a psychiatrist, whoever it is. I will take every single help and I want to come out of it. So many people come to your rescue. I had my friends who would leave their work, who would work whole day, come at my home and stay with me to take care of my child and take care of me. It was not about only about my child. It was about me. They knew that I needed help. All your friends help you in different ways. One friend would come and help me. One of my friends, one of my husband's friend wife, she called me and she was like, Khushali, wait, listen to me. So she also conceived late and she also had a child who was premature. So she was like, Khushali, what you are going through is probably postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, or postpartum blues. You name it, anything, but it's okay. She was like so firm. We were talking on phone and she was like, Khushali, listen to me. Um, I had my mom's as well. I probably, I was feeling that loss, that there is nobody to guide me. That was also one reason. My mental state was there. But that was also one reason. And she told me, Khushali, I had both my moms, mom and mom-in-law. Okay. But my child was premature. My moms told me, okay, we have never seen such a small child. We don't know how to hold them. So again, I had everybody, but nobody could handle the child, right? So it is not just you. I had everybody, still nobody was there. It was like that. So stop thinking that you don't have anybody and accepted that it's our child. We'll deal with it. So she held me. My friends held me. My friend's mom, who was a doctor, she held me, and then gradually I came out of it. And again, I would say that I came out of it like so well. So yeah, this is the journey, and postpartum depression is real. Accept it, take help, and talk to the right people who guide you. And during that time, the biggest hit, which I cannot forget, I have forgiven that person, but I would not forget that person came to meet me. Everybody comes to meet the mom and child and, new parents. You know, सब कुछ तो है. Sorry, this is in Hindi, but I would like to tell you. सब कुछ तो है, cooks है, maids है, help है, बच्चा है, और क्या चाहिए आपको? And किस चीज के लिए आपको uneasy feel हो रहा है? Because at that time I was not, in the right state of mind. क्या uneasy feel हो रहा है आपको? And I was like, seriously? You don't know what a female undergoes, that there are people I have seen who takes forever to come out of it, and no, I mean, I'm 3.5 years postpartum. Probably I don't feel that my body is still not the same. I know I still feel that. So it's not wrong. I mean, we are humans, and a female, when a child is conceived, all her body parts are in a different state. It's not a game, it's not a joke. So please, you don't know what postpartum a female is undergoing. If you can't be empathetic, if you can't be empathetic, please don't speak to them. Please, this is the biggest thing. If you tell me, and if you tell me that what you want to go and tell people, I'll tell, please shut up. As simple as that. This might look harsh, but if you cannot say something good, don't say something bad. Better keep your mouth shut. That is the real thing. If you can't be of help, just don't say anything. Go meet and come back, but don't keep on saying any random thing. It hurts. It truly hurts. If I still think today, it still hurts me.
I guess people don't understand, what a mother goes, the journey right from the conception, all the changes that happen in her body, all the emotional, the
Yeah.
hormonal ups and downs. And after she's given birth, there's so much, the body's changed completely. And it does take time to adapt yourself to the new routine, your baby. And like you said, because you didn't have the parents or you didn't know how to handle the child, or what the child requires, it's difficult to understand, when you don't have support. So like you said, it's so important to talk to people. If you don't know, if you're unsure, if you're feeling uneasy about something, I think talking to people and having those conversations, and like you rightly said, talking to the right people is very important. And you've been really brave, Kushali. It's amazing. What would you tell our young couples who are trying to have a baby, or who are trying to go through the IVF journey? Anybody dealing with postpartum, how important it is to keep your positive mindset and be strong, and any tips that you could give our listeners how they should manage their emotions throughout this journey?
Anybody undergoing IVF, firstly, all the best, and you are going to become parents, definitely. What I have learned through my journey is, be positive. And, even for doctors, if you feel it is right, go for it. Till that time, you can keep searching. Doesn't matter. It's not about the best doctor. It is about the right doctor where you feel connected that, things will work out. Secondly, be financially ready. Yes, because, it's IVF, and then eventually you will have a child, and the finances, you need more and more finances. So financially being ready is important. And secondly, learn to ignore people. The best thing is that, ignore and trust your instincts and be together, hold each other, and you will deal with this. When you're walking the journey of parenting, it is about being together. It is not about any third person. It is only about those two people who are walking that journey. So everything else is the noise. I don't want to say anything else, just only one thing. Be together. Just go ahead and be positive. As simple as that. There is nothing we can't achieve. We manifested as a couple that, we are going to be parents. Be positive and you will, achieve what you desire. Be it anything. And parenthood is what we want, and we want to do it, we will do it.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here today. It was very inspiring, and I really want to thank you for being brave and sharing your story with us. All the best with your new ventures.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vishali, for having me. And I'm truly, truly grateful that you gave me an opportunity to speak about it, because this is something which very few people accept it and talk about it. And still, I think it is a taboo. It is all about us, not about anything else. So, yeah, just embrace it.
The journey to motherhood isn't always straight or simple, but it's always special for every woman. Special thanks to our guest for sharing her path to motherhood with such raw honesty. Such an inspiring story of resilience and hope. Stories of motherhood are written in sleepless nights, worry-filled days, and moments of pure joy that make it all worthwhile. Thank you for joining us for this powerful conversation on Let's Talk. If this episode touched your heart, please share with someone who might need to hear it. To stay connected with such inspiring conversations, kindly subscribe and follow us. If you'd like to get in touch with our guest, please connect with the link provided in the description below. I'm Vaishali Patil, and until next time, remember, whether through nature, science, or destiny, the love of mother knows no bounds. See you in our next episode of Let's Talk.